on mute.
I don't need to click it, do I?
And
Do you
then,
want mom on mute too? Do
no,
you
she
want
can
mom?
stay on. Yeah, Nell, you can stay on so we can hear you and talk to you, but everybody else, so we don't talk over each other, we'll keep it on mute. And then if you have any questions, you can type those into the chat, and Kate and I are co-hosts, and Kate will be looking at those questions if we want to ask those towards the end. If you prefer that you don't want to be seen on camera, next to your mute button, there's that little video and it says stop video underneath it. You can press that. So if you don't want to be recorded on camera, feel free to use that. And most of all, let's have a great time today. We're really happy to be here, Nell, Mickey, to be celebrating you and your 100th birthday, and just such an honor. So thank you for having all of us and for being here. So, all right, here we go. Kate, you ready?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna start with a couple of announcements. So yesterday we had a little get together at Mickey's place for folks who could travel. Had to keep the numbers down too. We were very blessed to have the Director of Veteran and Military Affairs for Senator Lee and Senator Romney. He came up and read a history of Nell, and that history was actually entered into the congressional record. So forever, all of her accomplishments are part of the record of our Congress, which I think is pretty cool. Another wonderful thing that happened yesterday is that we had 6 aircraft piloted by local pilots and led by a wonderful woman by the name of Francine Garcia. She actually organized and got everybody together, and they flew a couple passes directly over the balcony while Nell sat outside and waved up to everybody going by. We had some great wing rocks. We had Bill on the radio there helping to call them in. We had a little mirror that Margot actually set out there, so we were able to give them a shine, so they went directly over top of us. So that was pretty special yesterday. Also, Jamie Stefanik, who's not on here, was able to set up, and Nell, I also will call her Mickey if some of you guys don't know that, so I'm trying to stick with Nell, but she was on 3 different news channels last night. It started out on the 9 o'clock news with Fox, and then was also on Channel 2 and Channel 5 here in Salt Lake. So pretty cool that they recognized her amazing life and accomplishments there. And then finally, as we get rolling here, some of you may already know, but for those of you who don't, today is Nell Stevenson Bright Recognition Day in the state of Utah. So the Lieutenant Governor of Utah came to her apartment earlier on this week and presented her with a citation, and today is her day in the state. So pretty special lady, a lot of accolades, and all very well deserved. So it was a really, really neat day. All right, so with that, we have a little program today. Harkening back to, I think, around the 50s, there was an old TV program that was called This Is Your Life. So this is your life with me, Caroline Jensen. My call sign is Blaze. I am here to represent the group of women that were inspired to military aviation careers by Mickey. So had she not done what she did, people like me wouldn't have been here. My own father used her example of following dreams and going after it and making sure that you were in the right place when the laws changed and the rules changed, so that you could go on and fly and do what you wanted to do. So if it wasn't for Mickey, I wouldn't have been able to have flown, and I just retired from 27 years in the Air Force and over 3,000 hours of flying a night. And I definitely attribute that to Mickey and her service. And she was a trendsetter and a trailblazer in a lot of different ways. So we're excited to talk about that today. And we've got some special guests who offered to say some words about you, Mickey. So a lot of the people that you love are flown in from all over the United States and are here on Zoom for your very special occasion. And so here we go, Mickey. This is your life. All right. I want to start out with, what was it like in 1921 when you were born? What was the world like? So one of the big events that changed America is that the first baseball game was actually broadcast on the radio in 1921, in case you guys were wondering. It was the Phillies versus the Pirates, and the Pirates won in a score of 8-5. The movies that you would have gone to see were The Kid, which starred Charlie Chaplin, and The Three Musketeers. Babe Ruth hit his 138th out of 714 career home runs the year that you were born. In not so great news, Adolf Hitler became the chairman of the Nazi Party the year you were born. And if you guys had 15 cents in your pocket, it would get you to buy a whole pound of peanut butter. Let's see. Albert Einstein actually won the Nobel Prize for his theory of relativity. So E equals mc squared, won the won the Nobel Prize for physics that year. Wonder Bread began distribution throughout the country. Here's some fun stuff. Gucci started selling their first handbags that year, and Coco Chanel introduced Chanel No. 5. So pretty neat stuff. And then finally, the life expectancy of a woman in 1921 was 61.8 years, and I think you are on pace to double that. So we're happy to be here and celebrate with you. So there's good news and bad news. We tried to find people from each part of your life. The good news is that you're here to listen to it. The bad news is that no one is here to talk about it. So I'm going to talk through some of that for you. And thank you to Pat Thomas too, who did the research for me. So great job here. So many of you know Mickey Nell comes from strong patriotic stock, and this dates back all the way to the colonial times. Her father was a banker and her mother was a teacher. Education was very valued by both of her parents. In 1908, her father actually asked her mother for her hand in marriage. And her mom was in college, and she said, you know what, let's wait a couple of years until I graduate from college first. So they were married in 1910. So as you can hear, Nell grew up with some really excellent role models, and she was always encouraged to set goals and to go after them. She lived through the Depression and the Dust Bowl. She attended an experimental school in Canyon, Texas that was connected with a university. So she's one smart cookie, and by the age of 15, she had already graduated from high school, and by 19, she had graduated from West Texas University, which is now part of Texas A&M. And so she graduated at 19 years old in 1941. Nell has said that when she was a child, she was always interested in flying. And at 8 years old, her dad took her out to see some of the World War I biplanes that would fly and take up passengers. And she wanted to go up and had her first flight in a biplane. When she was in college, she worked on her college paper and she worked on the annual yearbook. And she graduated with a degree in economics and journalism, and then moved to Amarillo, Texas, where she took a job working with the Amarillo Times in advertising. During this time, that flying bug had bit her. She, along with 9 friends, all men, decided to purchase a Taylorcraft aircraft, and Nell began flying lessons at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it didn't hurt that when she went there, the manager of the field, the Amarillo was called English Field back then, and the person that ran that was Mrs. English, so a woman who was a pilot herself and was in favor of girls flying. So Nell was also encouraged to join the flying club. She was there on December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and she saw an article in the Flying magazine that mentioned that there could be a possibility that the Army Air Corps would be training women in some way. Applicants were required to be at least 21 years old and have at least 75 hours of flying time and have their private pilot's license to be eligible. And Nell had all of that, so she was invited to go and have an interview with Jackie Cochran. So Mickey, that's your early days. And now our next guest speaker is over to Kate. Over to you.
All right, I'm here. Well, hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here. And I know many of you already know a lot of this, but we think it's fun to review the life a little bit and give some of that background. And of course, the WASP were started in 1942 when there was a desperate need for ferry pilots, and women like Mickey, 25,000 women like Mickey applied to be a part of this program, and only 1,830 were admitted to training. So, every one of those trainees was special. And then, of course, Mickey ended up being admitted to class 43W7. The W stands for women. She got admitted to 43W7, and she will tell you quite firmly that this was the best class that ever was. Isn't that right, Mickey? Right.
That's right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they started in the spring of 1943, in May, I believe, of 43. And this was a point when the experiment was really expanding, and the Army Air Forces called it an experiment, where initially they were just going to have ferry pilots. They decided, as they saw these women working and doing well, they expanded the training to 6 months long. And then they expanded the type of work they did. So Mickey was one of those early classes at Sweetwater that got some really good training. This picture of her on the left is one of my favorites that I show in all the talks that I give, because you note her open-toe sandals. She's got her zoot suit on and a leather jacket over it, and then she's got her open-toe sandals. And some of us yesterday were commenting on the fact that she's still wearing open-toe sandals. She had her open-toe sandals on at the party yesterday. So nothing has changed since 1943, at least, with her her pretty toenails there. But they trained in all sorts of different aircraft. And then Mickey was one of that group that, again, they expanded the experiment after she graduated. And I just think, of course, this is a beautiful photo. This is a little later than graduation because she has her beautiful Santiago blue uniform there. And this picture, and I believe this picture was at Biggs Field, wasn't it, Mickey?
Yes, it was.
Right. And I know there's a group of us that had a chance to hang out with you and some of your WASP friends. So this is Mickey right here. Just so everybody can recognize her and her gorgeous hair all over. And then this is Caddy Landry Steele, who was a good friend, and Carol Bailey Bosca, of course, is right here. And those three, they were the three musketeers in the years after the war, for sure, and they're out in Texas too. So Mickey served and learned to fly these big bombers, doing all sorts of different work, all different aircraft there. They trained at Mather and then were at Biggs in El Paso, and did strafing missions, flew the bombers, towing targets, and all sorts of different jobs. And this was, the class that Mickey was in, this 43-7, really was a part of that proof that women could do all these different jobs. And of course, there in El Paso, women were flying the remote control aircraft, which was top secret, and just doing so many different important things. So while I would never say this to any other WASP, and I will deny it, I will say 43-7 is definitely a very special class. I'm not allowed to have a favorite, but you can't have a favorite child and you can't have a favorite class, but 43-7 is sure pretty special. Right. And of course, Mickey goes on and serves until the WASP are disbanded in December of 1944. And then she's got to figure out what to do next in her life. And I will pass this back over to Caroline.
Yeah.
There.
All right, thank you so much. Now, Mickey, you've been a trailblazer in so many ways throughout your awesome, amazing, long life. You've defied a lot of standards of society, and more than once you've gone ahead and done the things that make you happy and unique from the other women that are around you, especially in a male-dominated field. So you began as a stockbroker in 1957 and retired in 2006, I believe, and you were one of the first of only 2 women stockbrokers in Arizona. We have a great little video for you from one of the friends of your family. Linda couldn't be here today, but she wanted to talk about the impression that you made on her in your life, in her life too, through your example.
Okay. Can't hear.
Well, audio's not working this time.
Can you hear it when it was running?
Oh, it wasn't playing.
No.
Badass women.
There we go.
Broke the glass ceiling.
Here, let me
Never
start
was
it back. Ah,
There at the time. I just wanted to let you know
There we go.
that how much of an impact you had on me when I was growing up as a girl. Well, in 61 years.
sorry.
That's all right. We can hear it now, so we're all ready.
And you were one of the first badass women that as independent other mothers with aprons on, you were out there in the business world, breaking that glass ceiling, entering the world of men. And making a huge difference. I truly wish you the best 100th birthday you can ever have, and I wish I could be there. Have a great time. I love you, Mickey. Bye.
All right. So thanks to Linda for that. And then we've got a couple of guests that are that knew you, Mickey, from your days in Sedona, Arizona, as a stockbroker and also working on the Jazz on the Rocks. So let's go ahead, and I wanted to start with Chris. And Chris, if you can unmute yourself, I think I saw you on. If you can share your experiences with how you've known Nell and one of your favorite stories, maybe about good memory about her.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, I met Nell in Sedona in, I think it was 1989 or 1990. And we were both involved with Sedona Jazz on the Rocks. We were volunteers on their board of directors. And Nell was always such a positive and reliable influence on the board of directors. After a couple of years on the board, I was hired as their executive director. So then Nell became my boss as one of the board members. But she was always much more of a partner than a boss. And I learned many, many things from her. And a couple of years after that, Sedona Jazz on the Rocks wanted to get a little bigger office, but we didn't have the money to cover all of the rent. So Nell stepped up, as she always did, and said, you know, I'll rent part of the office and be your office mate. So we spent many years seeing each other every single day in the office, which was just a wonderful way to form a really meaningful friendship. And one of the things I wanted to share about the special times that I had with Nell was my husband and I, we just loved attending Weldon's concerts and performances with Nell. And we would do fabulous music, but even more than the music, we just had such a great time being with Nell and enjoying the evening. So we have lots of good memories about that.
So that she can see the person that's talking.
And I think last, I'd just like to say that I think the thing that always impressed me the most about Nell was her humility. She never ever bragged. And in fact, you pretty much had to drag things out of her to find out all of the things that she had done in her life. And I think it took me, years to really know all of the firsts that Nell accomplished and mastered. And it just always was so impressive. I remember saying, did you know Nell had a radio show? No, I never knew that. I never knew that. All these things we'd little by little find out. And then we'd say, did you know that? No, I never knew that. So anyway, she's an incredible person. I feel very blessed to have had her friendship in my life. And Nell, I wish you the happiest of birthdays. It's so wonderful to see you. And I'm super happy to share in your celebration. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. I didn't know she had a radio show either, so
She
we all
did.
need to talk a little bit more later. All right, and I see Karen too on. So Karen, thank you so much for joining us. I think you're on mute right now, but if you can share with us too how you know her and your impressions from the time that you got to spend with her.
Sure. Well, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I was in that spectacular board that Chris was in, but I came in around 92 and I was in for about a year, and then I dragged my husband in, Hal. He came into the board too. So Nell was always such a delight. And she knew so much about jazz that I learned a lot about jazz just through Nell. She was a really good president, and she knew everybody in town. So she could get lots of gifts and goodies from everybody. And it was a wonderful experience. So I'm going to try to find Hal, but I think he's hiding somewhere. I don't think he wants to get on. But happy birthday, Ms. Nell. We love you. I feel so honored to be a part of this birthday celebration. I loved all our years together at Jazz, and you were delightful. And I felt like, I was an honor to be with you all the time. So thank you for everything. Happy birthday. Enjoy your day and your week and your year. And we love you. Okay.
All right, Karen, thank you so much for that. And now we get to talk about family. So Chris, I thought it was really interesting too that you said it's hard to know sometimes all of the amazing things that Nell has done because she, I don't know, I guess to her that's normal. That's just the kind of thing that you do. And I was talking to Scott, her son, and Scott, if you can talk next, I found out that he did not even realize his mom had flown airplanes during World War II until he was about 12 years old. So, they grew up with a mom who was working out of the house and had accomplished all these things. And so I'd love to hear from Scott, your thoughts on your mom and growing up and your family.
Sure. You can hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Well, I didn't know she had a radio show either. So thanks for that information. Well, let's see. Margot said something yesterday about being raised in a way that that there were really no limits, and that's kind of, in a somewhat different way, that's kind of the way I was raised too. So that there were, I understood that there were no limits on what I might accomplish in my life. It was all up to me. But also, in order to kind of get there, I had to be allowed to pretty much run free and take chances, to get in trouble sometimes. And that's what I meant yesterday when I said that she gave me a long leash, or maybe no leash at all sometimes. I could make mistakes, I could learn from them. She trusted me, and probably a time or two that trust was misplaced, or maybe more than a time or two. But I was able to develop a sense of adventure, and looking back on my life, I just have no regrets. I've had a really positive life, and just really enjoyed myself, and lots of great memories. And the fact that I've had that kind of life is in large part, I think, due to the way Mom raised me. So again, thanks, Mom. Can you hear me, Mom? Thank you.
Yes, I can hear you. And thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, well, I think you'd probably agree with most of what I said.
Yes, I do. I really do.
All right, and
And it
Margot,
was-
Margot, I see you back there. It's your turn.
Okay, I'll take it since it's my turn. I agree with a lot of what Scott said. But I also remember that all of my other girlfriends, everybody that I played with, etc., almost all of them, their moms stayed home. And my mom went to work. She was a stockbroker. And in my mind, it was, well, Mom just chose to do that. And the other people, the other women, chose not to go out and do many different things. And that was their choice. And of course, growing up then, I did not realize just that most women did not move forward and do what they wanted to and use all their capabilities. But the other thing that Mom did for me, and because when I was a little kid, I ended up having epilepsy, and she let me know that I could never use it. And one of the ways, and my brother might not like this story, but when that first happened, I remember Scott saying, well, Margot, we could get out of helping with the cleanup after dinner. You can go ahead and fake a seizure and then I'll be nice and take care of you. And that happened about one time. And then Mother more or less let us know, you know, big deal. You guys still have to clean the kitchen and do the dishes. And that she wasn't going to fall for it because she knew we were faking it out. But she also let me know that even though I was dealing with that, it might get in the way of it, a few things here and there, but that she still wanted me to go forward and do whatever I wanted to, whatever career, and she was there for me. So.
Well, thank you, Margot. I appreciate that. I don't think I realized that as much as I should have. But it was very, very nice to hear it. And you have done very well, and I've been very proud of what you've done.
I think, Mickey, that's why you're so special, because you are just who you are and you don't have to try to be what you want to be. It's just, that's how you do. That's ingrained in your personality. So we're going to have some time for questions. If you guys would like to type into the chat, if you'd like to share a favorite story of Mickey, Professor Landeck is going to, she's an expert at this. So if you want to raise your hand, she can help keep things a little bit orderly. But as I wrap up the This Is Your Life presentation, Mickey, we're so honored here to celebrate you. And I think celebrating you helps us remember that there's a lot of good in this world, especially as long as there's women like you and people like you, and that anything is possible, that you don't take no for an answer, that you have dreams and you set goals and you go after them. And everything you've done, from being a pilot to a World War II veteran, to a stockbroker, to a musician, to being an amazing mother, that you inspire every single one of us to be the best that we can be. And we love you for it. So happy 100th birthday, Mickey. And I'm gonna hand it over to you, and it's all you now.
Are you handing it over to me?
Yes, ma'am. Anything you'd like to share with us or talk to us, and then we can ask some questions. So thanks, everybody.
All right. As I'm sure a lot of you have heard, my dad let me fly in an open cockpit airplane when I was 8 years old. And I think I decided then that was going to be one of my goals in life, was to learn to fly, which I did. And I think I have had a great life. And I've had two wonderful kids. Kids, man, they're not kids anymore, are they? And anyway, it's just been a blessing in more ways than one. That I appreciate everything that my children have done. I'm very proud of both of them and their career and their choices in life. That's been a great blessing to me. Now, do we have any questions? Are you there?
Hi, Nell. It's Jim Sullivan.
Hey, Jim.
I just
How
want to let
are
you
you?
know I'm doing fine. It's just a little warm down here in Phoenix, but I'm doing fine. I just wanted to let you know I saw an ad in the paper. They were looking for some crop dust pilots down in the central part of Arizona. So I put your name in. They may be contacting you if that's okay.
Thanks a lot. I thought I would start a new job pretty soon. You know, it's about time.
Okay,
Thanks, Jim.
absolutely.
Maybe Chig is warmed up for happy birthday.
Was that Wanda?
I think so.
Yes. Okay.
Well, Mickey, I wonder if you could tell us your favorite flying story. Do you have a favorite flying story?
I think one of my very favorite flying story is taking my brother home after combat in a B-25 because he was crew chief on B-25 in Sicily during the war. And when he was disembarked at El Paso, Texas, I happened to be stationed there and got permission from my commanding officer to fly him home so he could get there closer. My family lived in Canyon, which is close to Amarillo. He wasn't too happy about that. He thought that he could take the bus would be better. And I said, no, Tommy and I, one of the girls that I flew co-pilot with a lot in the 25, said that she'd go with us and that would be fine and I can get you home a lot sooner. So he finally decided to do that, and but wasn't very happy about it. My cohort and I decided we would do the Doolittle takeoff for him, and which we did, and we were put on the brakes and then turned them loose, and we got off the ground pretty fast. That would do it. As soon as we got over Canyon, which was very short distance from Amarillo Air Force Base, I told him I thought we ought to buzz Canyon. And he said, no, he didn't think that was a good idea. And in the meantime, I was in the throes of buzzing Canyon. And he kind of turned white from that, but I thought, you know, my gosh, he'd just come from combat. And I think he thought this was worse. But anyway, we got into Amarillo Air Force Base and got parked, and he got off the plane, and I never saw anybody so glad to be back on the ground as my brother. So that was one of my favorite times, I think, although we had a lot of good times and felt like we did a lot of good in all the missions that we did for the boys at Fort Bliss.
That's a pretty good story. I love that one too. Betty Donald has a question for you and would like to say something. Go ahead, Betty.
Okay. Hi, Betty. Are you there? Hello? Where did she go?
Betty, we can't hear you. Are you muted?
I'm not muted.
No, you're not. I'm asking Betty Donald if she's muted.
Oh, okay.
Betty, I'm gonna go to the Lana, and if you want to put your question in the chat, or maybe you can unmute. But we'll go ahead and go to Lana for right now, and then we'll come back to Betty. Go ahead, Lana.
Okay, now, thanks, Kate. Now, I just wanted to tell you that all of the years that you came here to Pecan and visited with us and the times we spent, you enriched my life by knowing you and being a part of all of those WASP homecomings that we did and all the fun times that we had. And Margot coming and spending time with us and all the neat things that we did and going to Sweetwater. I miss that a lot. I think I have withdrawals the last 2 years on homecoming weekend. So I love you. I am so glad that we crossed paths, and happy birthday. I wish I was with you.
Well, thank you very much, Lana. I appreciate that. I've loved knowing you. You've just been a great friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lana. I think Betty is, I'm not sure why her audio is not working, but she said that she wanted to let you know that she's here and she's wishing you a very happy birthday.
Well, thank Betty very much.
Good. Now, others, if you want to ask something of Mickey, or just have a comment or something, you can raise your hand or put something in the chat. I know Zoom is new to some of you. Carol Kane, I see you.
Where's Carol?
She's muted too.
If you'll unmute, Carol.
Now then, can you hear me? I want to wish you happy birthday again, Mickey. And most of us in our lifetimes don't know very many congressional gold medal recipients. And I don't think there are a lot of gold medal recipients on this call other than you. I would love for you to share what you remember about the highest honor that the United States can bestow upon a non-military citizen. What do you remember about those days in Washington, getting the Congressional Gold Medal?
Well, it was a wonderful experience. We had no idea that we would ever do that, and probably didn't even know what the Congressional Gold Medal was, but we learned really fast, and we had a marvelous trip to DC, and I think there was about 200 of us then, and receiving our gold medals. It was a great ceremony and a great honor to us. So it really meant a lot, and we felt like that we had finally gotten the government's attention on it. Of course, we had gotten our veteran status quite a while before that in 1977, which was quite a long time, but we were quite impressed with getting the gold medal and still very, very thrilled about it. Thank you for asking, Lana.
Well, it's been such an honor, I think, for all of us to know you. WASP have certainly added a great vitality and color to all of our lives. So we're just so glad to have you. Wish that Salt Lake City weren't so far away.
Yeah, that's true. And thank you, Carol.
Well, Mickey, Shyla Valentine is asking you if you have a favorite vacation spot.
I think Hawaii would be my favorite vacation spot.
What do you like best about it?
Just when I was there, it was just very laid back and it was comfortable and just a lot of fun to sightsee and do everything.
Good. Does anyone else have questions, or I'm not seeing more in the chat, but we have time.
I have a question. It's not really a question. This is Margot. But Mother, I would love, not everybody's heard the story of when you guys were flying over and the one guy wouldn't pay attention.
Oh, when
Yeah, tell them that. That's a good, funny one.
when we would do strafing missions early in the morning. Of course, that's going right down over people's heads, and we did that in the P-47 mostly. And when one morning we were, the trucks would go out in the desert, and then we'd come down out of the sun, right off the top of where they were going. And as we finished the run on one mission, there was one Jeep that was lagging on behind, and they didn't do anything, get out and hit the dirt or anything they were supposed to, and just waved at us. My buddy that was flying next to me, Caddy Landry, didn't like that, and so she radioed me and said, let's go down and get him. He was all by himself out there by then. Let's go down and get him, because he didn't pay any attention to me like he was supposed to. We didn't do all this to wave at him. So we went down and went over him again, and not too close, but went over him again, and he still didn't make any, he just waved at us. Didn't recognize what he was supposed to be doing, I guess. Anyway, Caddy decided we should try him again. We went down right over his head, and I guess we must have kind of scared him to death. We went on up and thought, Caddy says, let's go back and see what happened, which we did. And he had jumped out of the Jeep, and it was left running out into the desert. And he was out in the middle of the road waving his white T-shirt to us. So we figured we accomplished our mission at that point.
That's a great story, Mickey. Thank you for reminding us of that one, Margot. That's a great one. George, is it Herchala? I'm sorry, but George has a question for you. If you want to unmute.
Yes.
George.
Yes, it's Herchala. Mickey, I just had reread Winnie Wood's book, We Were Lost. So a lot of the stories of her adventures with you are really fresh in my mind. I think she mentioned that one you just told, but she never identified who the pilots were in it. So now I know. But one of the other funny stories I remember, I'd be interested to know what you remember about, was when you were at Mather Field with the B-25s, the one long flight over the Sierras to Elko and back. She said all of the rest of she was, I believe, Caddy and Caro flew together, and her and Tommy flew, or no, you and Caro flew together. And Winnie flew with Tommy that trip, and she said they were greatly amused when everybody got back that you and Caro had not realized that you could talk on your mics and had just traded notes the entire trip. I just wondered what you remember of that trip.
Yes, I remember that, and I remember some of the girls found out about it, although we realized what we were doing about the time we landed back at base. And we thought that we were pretty dumb, but we didn't want anybody to find out about it. Well, of course, they found out about it, and we never heard the last of it. They're real dumb stunt.
That's pretty good. Thank you for asking that, George. That's a great story.
All right.
Tony Russell has a question. She says, what was your favorite, what airplane was your favorite to fly and which was the hardest to learn?
I would say that the B-25 was probably my favorite. And I don't know, after we got out, we checked out on most of the airplanes on our own anyway. But I don't know, I don't really think I found any particularly hard to fly. Some were easier than others, I guess. But and one of them that was the hardest was a twin engine plane, and now I can't even remember the name of it, but it was one of the first ones put out, I think it was about for the Navy. And as I recall, we didn't like that one very much, but otherwise the twin engine beats, you know, AT-7, the AT-11, and all of the and the Navy Helldivers that we flew, the A-24 and the A-25 and the P-47 and all of those we checked out by ourselves. So we had just had good instruction, I guess. We loved to fly.
That's pretty good. Well, I wonder, and again, if anyone else has questions, I don't mean I want to step on you. I'm curious, you know, I suspect that there's nobody in this Zoom that's quite got the age on you, if that's all right to say. And I wonder if you could offer us all some words of wisdom of how to get where you are in life, where you're happy and healthy and right and 100 years old. How do you do that? What's the trick?
I think you mainly have good genes. I have longevity in my family. I think that has a lot to do with it. As long as you try to eat right and take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you stay so sharp? You think that's just genes too, or you think that's something that you can?
No, I think that's just normal. Some people are, you said short, didn't you?
Sharp. Sharp.
Sharp. Oh, I hadn't thought about that one. Well, I said, I have no idea. Maybe I'm just lucky. Either it's inherited or, and most of my dad was 98. I lived to be 98, and he was still sharp the day before he passed. So it's just, as I said before, mainly in the genes, I think. I wish I knew because it would be very interesting.
Well, Mickey, did you eat a lot of carrots? I heard from Scotty that was a good thing to do. A lot of carrots.
Did you eat a lot of carrots?
Oh, did I? No, not particularly.
You remember that story, Mickey, at Oshkosh, Scotty Goff, when you guys gave your talks? That would always be one of her pieces was she'd say she ate carrots every day because when she was a little kid, she'd been told that if you ate carrots, you'd have good eyes. And she knew that pilots needed good eyes. So she wanted to be a pilot. So she ate carrots every day. She said you guys all made fun of her for eating carrots all the time, but she was the only one at restaurants that didn't have to get out reading glasses to read the menu.
Well, I don't remember that, but that sounds like somebody from the walk. Yes.
Right, Scotty Goff, right. Good. Anyone else want to talk or have questions for Mickey?
Hey, Kate, I think we had a couple people who just joined. They may have gotten the time zones a little
Okay.
mixed up. So if you guys want to make a comment, we'd be happy to hear. But I did get a question from Chig to me asking about what the flyby was. And the 6 aircraft that flew over yesterday, the lead was 2 women and a 182. The number 2, and they called themselves Nell Flight. So Nell 2 was a Cherokee 180 with 2 women in it. The boys could not be outdone, so they were Nell 3 and a Grumman Tiger. Nell 4 was says Emerson and Kylie. They were in a 172. Nell 5 was a Cherokee 140 with Nikki and Trevor flying that, and then a gyrocopter was the tail end Charlie out there, and that was a woman. It looks like her husband. So they were really excited to participate, and again, that was pretty fun. One of the news clips even showed the big wing rocks on the nightly news. So there's the answer to that question from yesterday.
Very cool.
I really didn't understand your question.
Oh, sorry, Mickey. I was just someone had asked me what airplanes flew by yesterday, so I just let them know what your flyby was. So what did you think about the flyby yesterday when you saw those aircraft flying over? What did it make you think of?
Oh, it was wonderful. I thought it was just great.
Nell,
Yes,
this is Duncan from Atlanta. Happy birthday.
thank you. Thank you very much. And how are you guys doing in Atlanta?
We're doing all right.
It's so nice to talk to you.
It's good to see you. When does the dancing part start?
Right away, Duncan, right away. You better
Nell,
get here.
Nell, when was your last piloted flight?
I beg your pardon?
When did you last pilot a plane?
About 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Not by myself. I was at Con Plantation, and the Commemorative Air Force T6 came in to give us flights one afternoon when the people at Pecan were entertaining us, and I got to fly in a T6 again. And when we took off, he asked me if I wanted to fly it. And I said yes. He said, well, you've got it. And we flew around for about 30 or 40 minutes. Had a real good time, and I was surprised how a lot of things came back to me that I thought I'd lost. And when we got ready to land, I said, thank you very much, and it's all yours now. I'll let you land it. But it was a lot of fun.
So, Nell, is flying a plane like riding a bicycle, or is riding a bicycle like flying a plane?
Probably both. It's your muscles seem to remember what happened years ago.
That's wonderful. You look good.
Thank you.
Mickey, Mo Barrett had to jump off, but he wanted to tell you happy birthday, and he was so glad he got to be here.
Okay, thank you. You did say Mo Barrett, didn't you?
I did. That's correct.
Well, now I met her on Zoom not too long ago, and I really enjoyed it.
Good. Well, Caroline, I'm going to hand this back to you. I think it's slowed down a little bit.
All right. Well, I know it's been a wonderful weekend, and today is the actual Centurion celebration. So we're all really happy that we could be here with you, Mickey, and it's just an honor to know you, like we said, and wish you many more happy birthdays, and give you the last word as we wrap up here. And so you can go on and maybe eat some more of that beautiful cake from yesterday.
Well, thank you very much. And I just want to thank everybody for making this a very memorable birthday. This has just been wonderful, and I just appreciate everything that everybody has done. And it's just been unbelievable what fun it's been. So good luck and have fun for everybody, and fly high.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Let's do happy birthday.
Ready?
Yeah, let's let Chig sing it down.
Everybody can unmute. I don't know how this will work. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear.
Happy
birthday to you.
And many more.
And I make happy birthday.
Pretty good. Thank you, Chig.
Love you all.
Bye, guys. Good seeing everybody.
Bye. Bye. Happy birthday.
Bye, everybody. Glad to be here.
Happy birthday now.
Happy birthday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yep. Viewing waiting.
Now, do we leave?
You just need to click on the leave meeting
Done.
down in the lower right.
You can leave it up.
Yeah, I know.
You can leave it on.
You can just leave it on if you want to. Why?
Bye, Scott.
Or you can just hit leave.
Happy birthday, Nell, a little bit later.
Saying bye to you.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Catherine, and thanks, thank you guys for putting this on. Really,
Thank
you're
you,
great.
Kurt. It's good to see you, Kurt.
Bye-bye. All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Nobody has to get in since the other ones, so yay. Good. Yes.
See ya.
Yay.
Talk to you later.
Talk
Bye.
later.
Bye, Leah.
Bye.
So long.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Click out.
Happy birthday, Mickey.
Thank you, Kate, and thanks for all you did.
Happy to do it. You know it.
Good job, Kate, from Mickey's audio.
And, and Kate, now you can take another nap.
Yes, I will. Happy to see everybody again. It was so good to see you all. Bye.